Hello, dear viewers. I, Enaniya, Assistant Professor from Government Law College, Ajmer, is present before you today to discuss the various one-word substitutions, the questions based on which are asked in the examinations, annual examinations. So we need to prepare for them as well. So today we'll be studying the interpretation of statutes, statutory English, and the legal language and legal drafting. Okay, so under this, general English is also there, so we must learn one word substitutions. Okay, so for a group of words, a particular word is substituted. The logic is the same. Okay, so let us begin the same. Are you ready? I think so. You are ready. So the one through which one can see, the object through which one can see is transparent. Transparent is the object through which one can see. Next is a person who does a particular work in a spirit to help other people. Okay, that is known as missionary. Missionary is the act of doing good for others in the spirit of helping the other people. Clear? Next is one who dies without making a will. Yes, intestate. Intestate is the condition in which a person dies without making a will. Clear? Next is the one which is bound to happen. Something which is bound to happen and it will occur. What is that? Inevitable. Inevitable is something which is bound to happen. Okay? Clear? Next is one who walks on his or her feet. It's very simple, I guess. Pedestrian. Pedestrian is a person who walks on his or her feet. Something which easily catches fire. What is that thing known as? Inflammable. Inflammable is something which can easily catch fire. Next is the act or the actions of the ambassadors or diplomatic agents. What are those? Diplomacy. So diplomacy is the act done by the ambassadors or the diplomatic agents. Now, the book which contains the information on all subjects. Encyclopedia. So, encyclopedia is the book which contains knowledge or information on all the subjects. Next is estate inherited from one's ancestors. Patrimony is the estate inherited from one's ancestors. Clear? Patrimony. Next, a person who speaks on behalf of other people. Spokesperson. Normally, the political parties or the agencies, the sports agencies, they do have a particular spokesperson or multiple spokesperson who speak on the behalf of other people. Next is a person who does a thing not professionally but for one's own pleasure. Amateur. Amateur is a person who does something not professionally but for one's own pleasure. And now, a person who is sympathetic to other human beings is humanitarian. Something which can be heard is audible. Something that has gone worse from bad is deterioration. Deterioration is something which has gone worse from bad. Okay, so situation has become very bad. It was bad and now it has worsened. So it is deterioration. A believer of one who believes in the abolition of war is a pacifist. Pacifist is a person who believes in the abolition of wars. A person who believes in the use of armed power. A person who believes in the use of armed power is a militarist. Militarist is a person who believes in the use of armed power. Clear? The one which lasts for a short period of time. Transitory. Transitory is something which lasts for a short period of time. Next is things which can be carried over a long distance. Portable. So portable are the things which can be carried over long distance with ease. Next is absence of government. Absence of government is anarchy. Anarchy is the absence of government. Okay. Next is contrary to law. What is contrary to law? Illegal. Illegal is contrary to law. Next is contrary to nature is unnatural. So unnatural in itself is very clear that something which is contrary to or against the law of nature. An order passed by the court before the passing of the judgment. Interlocutory order. So it might be any order, obviously, but interlocutory order is an order which is given or passed for providing the party with immediate and necessary temporary relief. Interlocutory order. A person who conceals himself from the process of arrest is abscond. Absconder is a person who is concealing himself from the process of arrest. A person who gives up his life voluntarily for the sake of his country is a martyr. Martyr is a person who voluntarily gives up his life for the sake of his or her country. Clear? A period of 100 years. Yes. Century is a period of 100 years. And now, to leave one's own country and settle in another is immigrate. Okay? And the next one is to import illegally any goods in a country is smuggling. Clear? A public sale of property conducted by biddings is auction sale. So auction sale is a public sale of property by process of biddings. Clear? One who eats human flesh. Cannibal. Yes, cannibal is one who eats human flesh. A system or a structure in which government works both at the central and the state level is a federal system or a federal structure. Federal system or structure is a structure in which government works both at the central level as well as at the state level, which are independent of each other and which might be cooperative to one another. Clear? Adjournment for indefinite period of time. Sine die. Sine die is adjournment for indefinite period of time. Malicious utterance of words to lower down one's reputation. Defamation. So defamation is malicious utterance of words to lower down one's image. Clear? Next is a law passed as a sort of temporary measure by president or governor. Ordinance. Ordinance is a law passed by president or governor for a temporary period of time. Clear? Now, the next one word substitution. Money received by a Muslim woman as a consideration of marriage. Meher. Meher is the money received as a consideration for marriage by a Muslim woman. A court which is organized having a hypothetical case is a moot court. A prior judgment of an apex court which is binding upon the lower courts. Precedent. Precedent is the judgment of the apex court which is binding as a law on the lower courts. Next is something which is done with a feeling of ill will towards another. Malice. Malice is the feeling of ill will towards others or other person. Clear? The head of a Hindu joint family. Karta. Karta is a head of Hindu joint family. When a person signifies to another his willingness to do or abstain from doing anything with a view of obtaining assent of that another to such an act or abstinence, this is known as a proposal. So proposal is when a person signifies to another his willingness to do or abstain from doing something or anything with a view of obtaining assent of that another to such an act or abstinence. Clear? Next is every promise and every set of promises forming a consideration for each other is an agreement. An agreement is a promise or every set of promises forming a consideration for each another is agreement. Whoever does anything with an intention to cause wrongful loss to one person or to cause wrongful gain to another person, it is known as dishonestly. So dishonestly is whoever does a wrongful act with an intention to cause wrongful loss to one person or to cause wrongful gain to another person. Clear? Next is an act or omission which is made punishable by the law for the time being in force. Offense. So offense is an act or omission which is made punishable for the time being in force. An intentional abandonment of right is renunciation. So the one word substitution is renunciation for an intentional abandonment of right. A third party who aids the contesting parties to arrive at a settlement. Mediation. Mediation is an effort made by the third party to settle a dispute between two contesting parties. Next is the gist or the reasoning of the court in the form of judgment. A gist or the reasoning of the court is ratio. Ratio decidendi is the gist or the reasoning of the court. Next is a publication in written form which tends to lower down or damage the reputation of a person is a libel. Libel is a publication in printed form which damages the reputation of a person. Next is a publication in audible form that for a temporary period which lowers down the reputation of a person. Slander. Slander is a temporary form of audible statement which lowers down the reputation of a person. Clear? So slander and libel are two different points or two different things which actually constitute a defamation. Okay? An agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So a contract is an agreement enforceable by law. An agreement enforceable by law at the option of one or more parties thereto, but not at the option of others, is a voidable contract. So thank you, dear viewers, for listening. Keep the learning process on and keep watching the videos, and please do suggest if any editing has to be made or if any alterations have to be made. So have a great day ahead.